Hola amigos, bienvenidos. Buenos días amigos. Well, I say buenos días, but maybe it's buenas tardes or buenas noches. Wherever you are in the world, I hope you're having a great one. It's me, your profesor de español, Danny Evans, and I'm so glad you're hanging out with me on episode 16. And today we're talking about the verb ir, to go. So on lesson 16 of the language tutor on YouTube, we talked about the verb ir, and we learned the conjugations of that verb. And we learned a bunch of words that describe places you can go in town. And that just really helps you out as you're trying to bring ir into your conversation. And so we were able to talk about where we're going to go, where other people are going to go in town. And so we want to start off this episode just by simply reviewing the words that we went over on that episode. So I'm going to say the word in English and just kind of check yourself really quick to see if you know the word in Spanish. Okay, so I'll say it in English. We'll leave a little break there for you to come up with it, and then I'll say it in Spanish in case you don't quite remember it yet. And feel free to rewind this episode and just listen to it over and over until you really do feel solid on all these words. Okay, so here we go. The first word up is restaurant. Restaurant. And that is restaurante, restaurante. We spell that just like we do in English, but we just throw an E at the end there. The next one is school, school. And that is escuela. And the next one is house. And that's casa. A lot of people know that word, don't they? All right, next one up is city. And that is ciudad. Next up is post office, the office of mail. And that is oficina de correos, oficina de correos. Next one is market. And that's mercado. And if we just modify that a little bit, we get supermarket. Supermercado. All right. And now we get bookstore. And that is libreria. Libreria. That's the one that looks like library that people think is library, but it's actually bookstore. Next up is the park. And that is el parque. El parque. And next is the movie theater or cinema. That is el cine. And next is bank. The bank. And that's el banco. And next is the church. That's la iglesia. And now we come to bread store, the bakery. And that's panaderia. Panaderia. Remember, anytime you see a store sign that ends with eria, it is a place that sells whatever the root of that word is. So panaderia is a place that sells pan, which is bread. All right, the next one is work, our place of work. And that is trabajo, trabajo. Next up, the university. And that is la universidad. And now the shopping mall. El centro comercial. And remember, we also threw in a question word, and that was where. So how do you say where? And that was donde. All right, my friends, that wraps up the very first practice of this episode. And now I want us to practice the verb ir in context. Now let's quickly go over those conjugations because I know that we talked about them on the episode on YouTube, but let's just kind of make sure we know those conjugations really quick. So I go is yo voy. If I'm talking to a friend and I say you go, that is tú vas. He goes, él va. And she goes is ella va. Now, you go, talking to one person that I want to show respect to, is usted va. We go is nosotros vamos. You go, as in plural, the form that they use in Spain, vosotros vais. They go, ellos van or ellas van. And the next one, and our last one, is you go. This is the plural form, as if you're talking to a group, but they use this in all Spanish-speaking countries. And that is ustedes van. All right, great. Now, I want to take that word and let's use it with the word adonde. Adonde. It's the way that we say where when we're asking someone a question, meaning a location, as in to where. If you're asking where is someone going, or not where is something, but where is someone going, then we would say adonde. If the response is going to be a location, it would be adonde. So I'm going to give you a series of simple questions, and I'm going to tell you what place to use in the response. So here's an example. The first one I'm going to give you is adonde vamos. Adonde vamos. Now, I want you to respond to that using the word restaurante. Restaurante. All right, so answer the question, adonde vamos? Okay, now you could have responded to this question in two different ways. If I'm saying, where are we going, and I'm including you, then you would respond with, vamos al restaurante. Vamos al restaurante. Remember, we have to combine a and el to make al. Okay, but if I were saying, where are we going, and it didn't include you, you would need to respond by saying, you, plural, you are going, so ustedes van al restaurante. Ustedes van al restaurante. Okay, now you see how this little exercise works. The next one is going to be, ¿a dónde va ella? ¿A dónde va ella? Now respond to that saying the school. And the response to that would be, ella va a la escuela. Ella va a la escuela. The next one is, ¿a dónde van ellas? ¿A dónde van ellas? Now respond with la oficina de correos. All right, you should have said, ellas van a la oficina de correos. All right, let's do three more. The next question is, ¿a dónde vas? I'm talking to you. ¿A dónde vas? Now respond to that with el banco. And your response to that should have been, yo voy al banco. Or you might have just said, voy al banco. You didn't really have to say yo if you didn't want to. All right, let's do two more. The next one is, ¿a dónde van ellos? ¿A dónde van ellos? And answer this one with el supermercado. And you should have responded by saying, ellos van al supermercado. Ellos van al supermercado. The last one is, ¿a dónde voy? ¿A dónde voy? Answer this one with la librería. Okay, now I'm asking you, where am I going? So you should respond with you are going, just like we're talking. So you might have said, tú vas a la librería. Or you might have just said, vas a la librería. Either way would have worked fine. And okay, friends, that wraps up our second practice of this episode. Okay, next up, I'd like for us to practice the formula ir plus a plus infinitive. Now remember, ir plus a plus infinitive is really kind of a common sense formula that we use when we're going to do something. Now remember, ir means go, and an infinitive is simply a big fancy word for a verb that still has the word to in front of it. So to sleep, to eat, to drink, those are all infinitives. Okay, and in Spanish, an infinitive is simply a verb that still has the AR on it, or the ER, or the IR. It's that simple. So if we put those concepts together, ir and an infinitive, it means go or going, and to do something, okay? So we use the formula ir plus a plus infinitive to simply say we're going to do something. And we talked about on the episode on YouTube how the word a in the middle really doesn't make a lot of sense, but we still use it because it has to be there and makes sense in Spanish. Okay, so here we go. Let's use the verb first, the verb estudiar. Estudiar, which means to study. Now I'm going to give you two sentences to translate with that one really quick. The first one is, she is going to study. She is going to study. Translate that one. And you should have gotten ella va a estudiar. The va is ir, and then you have a, and then you have the infinitive estudiar. Ella va a estudiar. Now I want you to use that verb one more time. We are going to study. We are going to study. Translate that one. And you should have said, nosotros vamos a estudiar. Or you could have just simply said, vamos a estudiar. All right, let's switch verbs to the verb nadar. One of the ones we used on the episode there. Nadar means to swim. So translate, they are going to swim. They are going to swim. And that should be ellos or ellas van a nadar. Ellos van a nadar. And now say, I am going to swim. I am going to swim. Translate that one. And you should have said, yo voy a nadar. Or just simply voy a nadar. Either one works. Now let's do two with the verb entrar. Another one that we used on YouTube. Entrar. Okay, to enter. First one is, he is going to enter. He is going to enter. And that should have been, él va a entrar. Él va a entrar. And last one, you are going to enter. Now let's pretend we're talking about somebody that we know well. So use the tú form. You are going to enter. And that should have been, tú vas a entrar. Tú vas a entrar. Well, mis amigos, that's all for this episode. We have practiced a lot on this episode, and I hope you have benefited from our time together. I hope you're having a great day, evening, or night, wherever you are in the world. Thanks for tuning in and hanging out with me here while we practice our Espanol together. I look forward to seeing you next time on episode 17 when we talk about school-related words. All right, you have a great one. I'll see you soon. Hasta pronto.